Any views, thoughts, and opinions expressed by the journalists and guests are solely that of the journalists and guests and do not reflect the views, opinion, policies, or positions of Positive Lifestyle Management, LLC.
Greetings, brothers and sisters. Welcome to another episode of Positive Lifestyle Management PLM News Network, where we are clearing the smoke. And today I have a very special guest on, man, and that's the brother Big Tank G. You know, Tank has always been a part of my life since I was a teenager, and he's always been there to guide and to direct me, man, and to direct us in the righteous direction, man. And so today, we're going to get into a live discussion, man. We're going to discuss some things, man, dealing with the Miranda warnings. We're going to address an array of issues. But first, I would like for you all to know that this is very monumental for PLM News Network. This is our 100th episode. And it's monumental because I never thought that this is what I would be doing. So, man, I'm just happy. I'm happy. So we're going to keep going. And so we're going to get right into it. What up, Tank? Come on, man. Introduce yourself to people.
I want to congratulate you on your 100th episode, man. That's a tremendous achievement to be able to be an amateur and to jump on and be able to and just give your time and your all to be able to give back to younger brothers and anybody that want to adhere to the vision, because it's been needed. We have different channels. People got all kind of stuff they saying, but is it from the black and white? So when you're looking at people when they talking on here about us, it don't be from the black and white, because I got the black and white and I've read it over and over. And what they're saying at the time, the majority of it is not from the black and white. So what was created for us and for us to use in a positive, productive way. And what you've been doing has been positive and productive.
Thank you, my brother. Thank you. See, that was our whole aim to begin with, was to make sure that our word get out the proper way, because everybody was trying to tell our story without telling it the correct way. And so it's brothers like you and all the supporters who have helped us, man, come along, man, to get us involved with this here, man. And so thank you. I'm here for it, folks. Thank you. And Kayla, the real vision of growth and development. Thanks for the channel. Thank you, Kayla Adams. Thank you very much. You know, thank you everybody, man, that's tuning in with us, man. So the first issue that we want to address, man, is the situation with the Miranda, man. You know, the Supreme Court made a decision, man, and in that decision, it affected us in a serious and a bad way. Most people don't understand the dynamics of what was that decision that came down when it came to the Miranda warnings. So what we're going to do is I'm gonna play this video, and I want everybody to listen up. Everybody that's chiming in with us, man, please listen up, because this is very important, and it is serious. It is very serious. You know, so here's, man, and this.
You have the right to remain silent, but don't count on the police to tell you that. The right-wing Supreme Court gutted Miranda rights this week by ruling that officers cannot be sued for failing to provide the Miranda warning before questioning someone in their custody. The decision will cut off a critical avenue for justice and will, of course, disproportionately impact Black folks and also many brown folks as well. Joining me now, Philip Atiba-Goff. He's the co-founder and CEO of the Center for Policing Equity. He's also a professor of African American Studies and Psychology at Yale University. Philip, so happy to have you here this morning. You reached out to us for a change. I was so happy. I was like, oh, great, Philip's available. I'll take him. Because you're the ideal person to talk to about this. Everybody wants to talk to you about these issues. SCOTUS is essentially saying that if the police fail to inform you of your rights, you can't sue them. Break it down for us and explain to our viewers what impact this will have on our community.
Right. So Miranda was designed, the Miranda warning that we're used to seeing on cop shows and the rest, it's designed to make sure you're aware of your 5th and 6th Amendment rights, your right not to incriminate yourself and your right to counsel. What this decision says is that, hey, that shouldn't be infringed. You still have the right. But if the police happen not to remember, or if they don't tell you about it, then you can't sue them for failing to make sure that you knew your rights. So on the sort of baseline, what it does is it creates or it removes the protections against law enforcement doing even more dastardly things as they're thinking about interrogating you, as they're detaining you, all of the things where we want law enforcement to be bound by the Constitution. But there's a deeper component to this that I really want people to understand. So why I reached out to talk to you about this. The reason we have the right to sue law enforcement is because of a law that was passed in 1871. That's the height of Reconstruction, back when the United States had people in government who fought to protect Black people against the conditions of chattel slavery. I know it's hard to remember, but we did have that time in the United States. 1871, at the height of Reconstruction, we passed something called the Third Enforcement Act, but it was better known as the Ku Klux Klan Act. 42 U.S.C. section 1983 said specifically, hey, folks who are police officers, they can't intimidate or abuse folks, right? Especially when it comes to voting rights. But it's the police who sometimes acted on behalf of the Klan that needed to be called out in this legislation. It is that law that is the way that folks have sued law enforcement for infringing upon folks' rights. It is that law that is essentially gutted. The law that protected Black folks from racial terrorism during the heyday of the Ku Klux Klan, when this country cared about that thing, that is the law that this ruling eviscerates. So I want to be clear, in part because we don't know that history, we no longer have the right to be told about our rights. And that's happening at exactly the same time that folks are passing both laws that protect law enforcement against prosecution and laws that prevent us.
Now, this is very, very important, Tank.
Yeah.
And explain to the audience, the Supreme Court overturning the Miranda. How is that the importance of it affecting us in society?
Well, now they can just, you could say something and they can say, well, we use it. They say, well, did you ask them? The person said, well, they didn't read my rights. Then the court is now saying they don't have that obligation to read your rights. Some people don't know their rights when they engage in the police. And we teach that to follow the duck. The duck tells you, do not open your mouth. Do not say nothing. Do not say nothing here. You want to see your lawyer. You want to see your attorney. So when you start talking to them, they writing that down. Used to be when they writing that down, then they go to court and you say, hey, they didn't read me my rights. Okay, the court said we got to strike those statements out of there because you didn't read his right. Now they can bypass, say, oh, we don't have the obligation to read your rights. You said this statement on there that we're going to use in court. So I'm saying that people have to realize what is going on. It's an infringement on a right that they passed actually a long time ago, so you could be able to sue the government. But if you're not paying attention and you make some kind of statement, any statement, it could be any statement, they could use it however they want to use it to incriminate you against somebody else, and they never read you the rights, that you got the right to remain silent. Anything you say and will be used again.
So in Miranda, in the duck, this is what it says. It says, if you are confronted by the powers that be, you are not to say anything. It must be read the following rights. As is mandatory stemming from a 1966 case, Miranda versus Arizona. Under Miranda, you must be informed of the following before any questions are asked. 1, you have a right to remain silent under the due process law of 5th and 14th Amendment, and that anything you say can and will be used against you in the court of law. 2, You have a right to have a lawyer present and to consult with a lawyer during question. If you cannot afford one, a lawyer will be supplied by the government. You are entitled to make one free phone call, so don't waste it. Contact a lawyer or anyone who can obtain one for you. So essentially, what has occurred is that's over with then.
Yeah, it's
That's
no more
over.
right. That
So-
duck is over with. As far as what you have the right to ask them, hey, I want an attorney, I want to whatever you want in the case. If you come in contact with law enforcement, they no longer have to tell you or give you any Miranda rights. So they've taken that out of the whole conversation when dealing with our liturgy. If we teaching this to members, that's been taken out. So you telling them now you got to teach them a whole nother way. Say, hey,
Right.
man, don't nothing. You don't got no rights. That constitutional right has been stripped. It's no longer there. So you do say anything. Somebody might say, hey, man, where you was at? Police, where you was at? Oh, man, I was on my cousin's house. Later on down the line, they come back in court and say he said this in court. We used to say, hey, hold up, man. He said he was over here, but you didn't read him his rights. You didn't sign nothing and said you read him his rights. That statement could be thrown out.
Explain. So here's the question. Here's another question. Explain what Donald Trump did with that Supreme Court.
Donald Trump stacked the whole federal court system with right-wing white supremacist judges, meaning that they started targeting certain specific things. They know who this is going to affect the most. So we say, what people say, well, voting doesn't matter, or we pick and choose, or what Trump did this. But the main thing he did that can outlast anything he did, he put a court in place that's going to make rulings for 30 years from now. You kids going to be under the rulings that this Supreme Court make, unless Congress, somebody changes. But that's highly unlikely because Congress don't have the majorities in either chambers. So those, what they put on the books right now, could stand for the next 20, 30 years. Those Supreme Courts is some ways more powerful than any president, any Congress member, or any senator that you can vote for. When you vote for the president, you actually voting for the people that he's going to put on the federal court. And the federal courts dictate the whole thing from working, from the criminal justice system, from how you work, from how you treat your children, from how you educate your children, the funding that goes to educate your children, from in the criminal justice system, how the courts work, from babysitting, how they allocate money to you and to your district or to where you live at. People can say what they want. A lot of this stuff really affects us, but we never even pay attention to it. Right. Now, it's keying in on it. They know the thing helps us. They stripping it away, saying, okay, this was constitutional. They taking the power away from Congress.
So now, one of our viewers, Salvatore Banana, said they supposed to read you your Miranda rights anytime you under arrest. They forgot to do mine and had to throw charges out. They was trying to charge me, G. Now, that's
right.
Over with now, brother Salvatore. It's over with now. They don't have to do that now with the ruling that just came down from the Supreme Court. They ain't got to read you your rights no more.
They just charge you.
Yeah, they could just charge you, you know.
And don't read you no rights. You can say, hey, they didn't read my rights. They're gonna say, well, we was not obligated. Although they still have the Miranda warnings there. Okay, they still got the Miranda warnings. They didn't say, okay, ain't no Miranda warnings. They're still there, but they separated. They made sure, okay, the police don't got to say nothing. They don't got to give them to you. They ain't got to say nothing to you about no Miranda warning. We could just arrest you. Most of the time, police get you and take you to jail. They say, oh, you got to remind your brain. Say they'll say all this stuff to you, sometime, or not all the time. But these are rights that the police knew that you had, and they'll be wanting you to sign stuff. Sometimes people don't sign it. I know what I'm reading, so I said, hold up, no, I ain't signing nothing.
So let's look at another layer of this here, then, Tank. Seeing that the police no longer have to read you your Miranda warnings, right? Yeah. And we know that the police is not above lying. That is a fact. So can they now say that you said something? Yeah. And there's no protection for you to even prove that you didn't do it?
That's a good point. That's a good point, because now that protection, that layer has been taken away. So the police just lied and said, you said this to him. Well, he told me this. Well, now you don't have that right in front of you to say, hey, the police didn't tell me that I got the right to remain silent. Police could just lie and say, you ain't even talk to him.